morning, Year 8. I hope you're well and having a lovely day. Please could you write the title Macbeth Spring Tri-Weekly 1. For your do now, I'd like you to write down as many adjectives as you can to describe the character of Macbeth. Pause the video to do this now. Next, I'd like you to write down the success criteria for this tri-weekly. Firstly, you should include language term analysis. So on a basic level, language analysis is where you're working out what a phrase or a group of words might mean. But if we elevate that to a higher level answer, you'd also be using language terminology, such as similes, metaphors, and imagery, and also using one-word analysis, so honing in on a particular word and trying to establish what are the connotations or associations of that word and how are they effective. You should have structural analysis. So you can have macro structure analysis, which is where you're talking about the order of ideas in the play as a whole, or microstructure analysis, where you're talking about things like repetition, exclamatory sentences, and listing. So techniques used to present ideas in a particular passage. You should also use quotes, which should be precise and well chosen. From the extract, you should look to have about 4 to 6 quotes, and from your other moments, you should look to have 3 to 4 quotes per moment, if possible. Context, so you should have relevant information from the time period. Reader response, you should explore the effect on the reader. You can do this explicitly by stating, this makes the reader feel, or you can imply how this makes the reader feel. And finally, you should have critical style, developing an argument in response to the question, relating to the character or the theme. This is seen throughout a high-level answer. Pause the video to make sure you have all this written down in your book. Steps for success. Please could you write this as a subheading and then write down the 4 steps for success. So first, you need to read the question and highlight or underline key words. Then you need to read the extract and highlight or annotate parts that would enable you to answer the question and analyse language and structure. Then you choose 2 other moments that would enable you to answer the question and analyse language and structure. I would highly recommend choosing moments from Act 1 because that's what we've done in detail. And then finally, I would suggest writing out the codes for the mark scheme to help keep you on track. So LS, language, structure, terminology, quotes, reader response, personal response, context. Then you can tick them off as you've done them to make sure you're meeting all aspects of the success criteria. Pause the video to do this now. Write out those steps. In terms of your overall structure, I recommend you have an introduction using the words of the question to set out your position. And then paragraph 1 and 2, I would say focus on the extract, talk about how they present Macbeth. Paragraph 3 and 4, I would suggest paragraph 3, another key moment, paragraph 4, another key moment. So 2 different key moments where Macbeth is presented very clearly in a particular way. And finally, have a conclusion, which uses the words of the question. Introductions and conclusions should be established the same position. So if you've changed your position from your introduction, you need to go back and amend it. So the introduction and conclusion should be mirror images of each other. You shouldn't use exactly the same words, but it should make the same set out the same position, I would say. Pause the video to copy this down now, please. So suggested paragraph structure, I advise you use Peel. Point, use a signpost sentence to make a relevant point. Macbeth is presented as something. Evidence, this can be seen through the quote. Analysis, the use of language or structure device shows us that something. When you're talking about these language and structure devices, think about why Shakespeare used them to present Macbeth in a particular way. Then you make your link. This makes the reader feel during the Jacobean era. So that is your suggested structure. Remember, it's just a base point. A high-level answer will make multiple quotes in a paragraph and conduct detailed analysis about several language and structure points. So this is just your very basic structure to get you off the ground. Ideally, it'll be much more developed than this in a high-level answer. But pause the video, please, to make a note of this. So make sure you've done your first step, which is annotating the question. in your planning, how is Macbeth presented in this extract and elsewhere in the play? So, what do you think you would highlight or underline? Write a signpost sentence for this question. Pause the video to do that now. So, with regards to the last slide, I would highlight or underline how Macbeth is presented and other moments in the play. Your signpost sentence would be Macbeth is presented as. So now you need to select your two other moments. What moments have we looked at that present Macbeth in a certain way? Please could you pause the video now to write down your two other moments that you're going to talk about. Right, so we've gone through the planning together, so hopefully you're all now ready to start. Don't worry if you're struggling a bit. It's just the first go, so the bar isn't that high. Just give it your best shot. As long as you submit something, I'll be pleased, okay? So I'd like you to work on this until the end of the lesson, and off you go. Right, thank you very much for your work today. I look forward to seeing what you produce. Our next lesson will be a live Zoom lesson where I feed back to you about the progress you've made and about how you did in your tri-weeklies generally. So something to look forward to hopefully. And I shall speak to you then. So thank you once again for your hard work and have a lovely rest of your day.